Hey there, good morning, good morning. Good morning to the West Coast and good afternoon to the East Coast. How are you? Jenenne Macklin here, your transformational speaker, and I'm here with a Tuesday tip, although I'm in a Monday groove because I guess yesterday was a holiday, and while it was a bit different, it was still a holiday. I still enjoyed my day. We barbecued some ribs and chicken and had some kale and put some corn on the grill, and so it was perfect. How was yours? What did you do for the holiday? Shops are opening, so I guess I'll get my hair done. Again, luckily for me, like the guy that tightens my hair, my stylist, colorist, only sees one person at a time too. So how are you? Hashtag replay. Remember, I said this to you last week. I'm sending energy to you to keep us moving forward and on track toward wherever we say we're going. And so as I send it out, I do look forward to getting it back in your hashtag replays, letting me know you came on later and what state you're in, as well as any answers to any questions I asked you. So I'm not even sure what I wanted to say today on a Tuesday tip. My heart was so impacted by the way we handled Mother Earth this weekend. I'm in California. I know some of you are on the East Coast. We have an area close to me. If you think of the Rose Bowl, that's where I am in Pasadena, like 10 minutes from the Rose Bowl, 7 minutes probably. But we have a lot of hiking trails out here. One of our trails leads to this incredible waterfall. And when I used to do my women's retreats, I would take my women there in silence and we'd sit by the water. Those who felt comfortable enough, we'd get in the water. Beautiful fresh water, wonderful waterfall. Well, they had kept all the trails closed, so they just opened up a trail, I believe, this past weekend. And so, in spite of us saying we love nature, in spite of us saying all the things that we really care about, they bombarded that hiking trail as if it were free food and free money. There were cars all down the road as if the parade was going on. Because when the parade happens, people come to town and they just take over Pasadena. There are cars, there's trailers, there's campers, there's everything everywhere. And it was the same thing. And as I was driving past, there were people without masks. Just like, we just don't need a mask anymore. No mask. We refuse to wear a mask. I mean, thousands of people. I heard it was on the news. I didn't even see it. And I just thought, wow, who are we? Really? Who are we? What do we really care about? What do we really stand for? We don't stand for our own health, which is part of the health crisis we're in. Now, I know, everybody wants to blame it on China and whatever, but I'm speaking as it relates to our individual ability to take care of ourselves, to eat properly, to drink properly, to get some sleep and exercise, some of the basic things that this machine needs. We don't do it. The hiking trail and the waterfall, I think I saw one picture, there were so many people there, it was unbelievable. There's no way people didn't get infected by whatever. There were so many people there in close proximity and hardly no one in the waterfall. Everybody just standing looking. So it just makes me really wonder, the level of our sense of care and concern for anything. I mean, we're so used to thinking of the earth as the streets and that's the street, but do you realize that it's a planet that we're calling our ground? That we're living on a planet, on the outside of a planet, and that planet has energy within the center of it that moves through it? I mean, if we won't even consider keeping our own trash and not throwing it on the ground, there are plastic gloves everywhere now. It's like you can always tell where we've been as humans because we leave such an imprint, and it's such a nasty imprint. It's such an imprint of we don't care, we'll just do whatever we want to. Somebody will pick up behind us. Now, I get it, because as I sit here, I look at where the squirrels have left their mess in my backyard because they eat the tangerines and then they just drop them, or they eat part of it and they drop them. So I'm like, okay, how is what they're doing any different than ours, except for we're human beings and we have a mind and we can think and make choices. They're just doing what they do as animals. And then I was going to say somebody else comes and gets them, but no, they don't. It's actually like they peel them and leave the peelings and eat the inside of my tangerines. The difference is they're animals and we're human. But I just thought it was, where do we go that we don't recognize the imprint that we're leaving on this planet? Where do we go that we just don't recognize it at all? We drop our papers, we drop our masks, we drop our plastic gloves, we drop our water bottles. There's tons of studies and even movies for children for all of us to become aware of what's happening to our oceans. We just drop everything wherever we go without any sense of connection to it. We have no connection to Mother Earth. We don't care. We go on the trails and the hiking trails and just walk over everything, trample over everything. There's fruits and vegetations in our trails. There's amazing plants on the trails that keep us alive, that when you can pull them, there's sage on the trails, there's lavender on the trails, there's lemongrass on the trail. There's so much, but we just trample through everything. We're going to the waterfall. There's thousands of people. And so now it's closed. And it just makes me wonder, we're fussing about the mask. You can't tell me to wear my mask. I'll wear it if I want to. It's like we fuss about everything. What is it? What is it we're willing to truly be responsible for in our lives, in our living experiences? Really? Give me a hashtag on that. Are you responsible for the thoughts you think? Are you responsible for the actions and what you do to this planet? What we do to this planet? Are you responsible for the food you put in your mouth, even though you know it's not healthy for you and you have a variety of different diseases in your body, but you still keep eating the same kind of way? What do we really care about? Because I used to think, we care about ourselves, but not the way we eat and not the way that we live our lives and the choices that we make. This body can't take any and every virus and any and every disease that comes along. It needs us to protect it. It needs us to build up our immune system for it to be able to do what it needs to do. So it just makes me wonder, I don't know if it's so much of a Tuesday tip, but to really just look at, who are we? What do we stand for real? Are we truly just going to continue to live out a legacy of not caring, of arguing, of splitting between classes and splitting because of races? And is that the legacy that we leave on this planet as a human beings, I guess, the first ones who came here? Is that it? Is that all? That's all we have to say? So it's just something I want you to think about. But in the meantime, going forward, you still have to think about, most of us have not been released to return to work. Hi, Ellen Shackleford. How are you? What state are you coming in from? You haven't been released to return to work. You haven't been released to return to your jobs. Many people I'm hearing have not gotten their unemployment. And I don't know if maybe that's part of the anger and the frustration and how we handle things and treat things. I walk every day, and before I even get up the hill, there's masks up and down the street. There's plastic gloves that have just been dropped. We just don't care. Now, granted, it's in certain areas. When I go to Beverly Hills, I still see gloves dropped. Not as much as in the suburbs, but it's like, what do we really care about? What are we willing to put our energy and effort behind to help this earth, this planet, be better for us? What are we willing to do different? What are we willing to think differently? How are we willing to behave differently? Are we all just angry little kids saying, you can't tell me what to do, you can't tell me, I'm going to do what I want to do? My God, we've only been on shutdown from what? March 17th to April 17th is 1 month. April 17th to May 7th is 2 months. We're still in May. We've only been shut down for 2.5 months. And they say, okay, we're going to slowly open things up and let's see how it goes. And we throw our masks away. You throw your gloves away and say, yay, we're free. No, we got a long way to go in this process. So it's really about looking at, what are you willing to be responsible for you and your life? Because if we make responsible decisions for ourselves and our lives, which I don't see us doing yet, that would impact those next to us, our neighbors, our communities, and the world. But if we keep having to go back and forth, okay, let's put everybody back in lockdown again. Let's try this again. Get the numbers down again. Let's gradually open it up again. And then it does this again. Then we're locked down again. I'm sorry. Now that's the scenario I don't want to play. I don't want to watch that movie played over and over again, opening up and closing, because we will not just do some of the basic things that we say are necessary at this stage of the game. We may not like it. And no, I wear my mask everywhere else. I'm around crowded people and where there's a lot of crowded people. I guess for some people, I should be talking to you like this, but I'm in my own home. But when I'm out exercising at 6 in the morning and there's no one there but me, no, I don't wear a mask. It's hard for me to get up my doggone heel as it is, let alone try to manage my breathing through some mess like this or either through my mask. But will I go out in that world without a mask and around people and hang out and go to the malls or, well, the malls aren't open, go to the stores and just hang out without a mask, without my gloves? No, I wouldn't do that for me or for anyone else. So, and even if they say it's a conspiracy, and okay, it's a conspiracy, so people are just dying because it's time for them to die, and that is true too. It's sometimes for some of us to leave the planet. We get so upset about death. We know it's coming. It's going to happen. So I understand that, but there's some choices for those of us who are saying we're going to stay on the planet. We want to be here a little bit longer. There's some choices that we have to make, some hard choices. This is a health crisis. It's a health crisis. It's not an oil crisis. You know, it's not, I don't know. It's a health crisis. It's not, I'm going to say it's not a spiritual crisis, but for some degree it is. I'd say it's not a financial crisis, but to some degree it is because they're all connected. It's our health. It's what we're willing to choose to be responsible for, choices we're willing to make individually that impact us and others. When we say we're in this together, it includes Mother Earth. We don't get to just throw everything down on the ground and think, who's going to pick it up? Who? Do we teach our kids to go pick up behind us? I actually was walking the other day and I saw an elderly woman and she had a bag and she had one of those sticks, and wherever she was walking, she was picking up litter wherever she was going. So it's just amazing for us to really take some time. I guess Tuesday tip would be to ask yourself, what are you really responsible for? Are you willing to be responsible for more than just yourself? Because that's what's required. We wear the mask for others. You know, so that's what's required. And we live in a country where we have free will, so some people are going without their mask. So now people are fighting about the mask. It's like, I don't know what we could do because we fight about everything, it seems. And I get it. There's 7 billion beings on this planet, and that means there's 7 different thoughts and ideals, but in reality, there's 7 billion people with the same thoughts, really, the same fears, the same worries, the same concerns. And if we could just come together a little bit on some of that, we could move further through this process. I was hoping that this process wouldn't take a whole entire year, but it very well may be. And this is just mask and health for the health crisis. We haven't even looked at the political piece and what we're going to do about voting, if we can vote by mail or not by mail. And if we have to go in physically and vote, then what is that going to look like? We're going to be 6 feet apart. Voting will take forever that way. So as much as there's a conversation saying, no, we don't want to do vote by mail, it seems the simplest, the fastest, most efficient and safe way for us to vote. So there's so many things on the table to be considered. So many things to look at personally for each of us on our own. So my only tip on Tuesday is to really dive within and get really clear on where you stand individually. You know, our children are watching us. We make an imprint wherever we go, and it looks like we are just spoiled Americans. Our beaches have beer cans on them and soda pops on them and waters and plastic, and we don't seem to care. Our mountains have stuff. When you go hiking, there's stuff. You can always see where we've been because we don't care. So when will we start to care about the planet? This is a Earth. Mother Earth is real. It's a planet. It's beaming. It's teeming with energy. And we just don't care. Unless everything is done the way we want it, when we want it, and how we want it. That's pretty spoiled, wouldn't you think? Or pretty privileged. Granted that we have to navigate 7 billion people. Granted there's new babies coming into this planet. Little children that are still on this planet that have to navigate it. So what can we do? What ways can we think differently and act differently to see some different results? I'm not trying to be in lockdown for forever. I mean, I'll do this weird lockdown till July 4th, I heard, but when I think of July, I think of schools a month later. So then what happens? So it's not, we just can't think about what's happening right here, right now, right? We've got to think like 2 months out, 3 months out, 4 months out. Because before we know it, we're going to fool around. It's time for school to start. The kids will be home again, which means the parents and the families will be home again. Can we really tolerate that? If we don't start thinking differently and acting different and making some different choices and taking some different actions, are we looking and considering what could happen 2 or 3 months from now? Yes, everybody wants to go back to work. Yes, people are struggling with money. Yes, people are struggling with housing. And what happens when those people start losing their homes? But if we won't do the basic with wear our masks, be where we're supposed to be, get your butts back at home, stay off the doggone beaches all huddled up next to each other, then we will be in this forever, it seems. So, what are we willing to be responsible for? What imprint are we really willing to leave on this planet? I mean, that's what it boils down to. We get into such a little bickering with each other. You bicker about this and bicker about that. It's like this constant agitation, and I think it's all being manipulated. When I look at news on the other channels from outside of America, I don't get all that anxiety and all that nervousness and all that concern and worry. It's just looking at those regular channels, 2, 4, and 7, which I won't look at, where there's all this stuff. And if you're looking at TV like that and then you go out into the world and take all that with you, then you're taking all that energy out there. So it's all going to be up to us. You can fuss about the government. You can fuss about voting. You can fuss about the president. You can fuss about the senators. You can fuss about the assembly. You can fuss about the Senate and the House. But those are entities that are made up of us as human beings. What are we going to do differently, say differently, act differently, and think differently to have a different world? And to have a different experience on this world? Are we going to have the same old experience? We're always arguing. There's always a war going on. We're always fighting with other countries. That's it? That's all we got? That's the best we have? Because we really need to look at the behavior and what's happening. And where we can see growth, that's great. But if we see more where we're going backwards, then we really have to look at what we're doing, what we're thinking, and what different choices we're going to make. So that's all I got for today. I trust you had a great Memorial Day. We did. We barbecued, went swimming, hung out for a little bit. Of course, I did some work. And I watched the people drive up to Eden Canyon, which is around the corner, and they just swarmed it like bees to honey. No masks. Little kids walking around with no masks. I don't get parents not putting masks on their kids. They're the ones that's more susceptible. But, America says you get to make your own choices, right? And so we're making our choices. I just think we have to expand the considerations beyond me and mine and what I want to look at and think about what's best for us. You think we all like being locked up? No, none of us actually do. We want to come and go too. But there's those of us who are making those choices to be locked down, to stay at home, to do what we need to do within the guidelines so we can get through this sooner, quicker, and faster. All the back and forth is going to get on my nerves. I can tell you already that's going to get on my nerves. Gavin Newsom opens up the parks and then he opens it up and then has to close it 2 days later. Because we won't just kind of gradually go in. What's happening? Go in during the week. You don't have to go in on the weekends just because it's Memorial Day. Let's all go hiking. There are people that go hiking every day. Every day I'm walking up my hill. I see people walking up the hill and they go right into hike. And I come right on back down the hill. We just have to be willing to think a little differently. Things aren't like what they used to be. We've got to think differently so we can move through this to the next step faster and begin to live life however that new normal is going to be. Begin to move toward that, move forward instead of going back again to have everybody shut down. Every time we want to open, only to open again. And then say, no, we got to close again. That's going to be unacceptable for us to have to do that. So I don't know how much inspiration I'm giving you, encouragement. I really want you to think about what you're doing. Think about this is where we are right now, and this is the requirement. And outside of 6 o'clock in the morning, any other time you see me, I have my mask on, I have my gloves on. I wash everything when I get it home. Matter of fact, I ordered something the other day from Amazon and everything that came on the outside of the package, when I opened it up, said for made in China. I closed it back up and threw it outside. I will be reaching to Amazon to tell them I'm sending all this stuff back. I don't want to open it. I don't want to see it. You can have it. Give me my money back, because that means someone in China in their factories made it or put it together or sealed it or did something. So it will be going back. I'm done with that. That's enough. But this is just the way it is. this is what we have to accept instead of being upset and annoyed and frustrated with it, so we can move forward faster to the next step. Hashtag replay. You let me know what you think. What do you think? America just let it open. We just do whatever we want to and we'll deal with it. We don't have a vaccine. We don't have consistent enough testing. And even if you get testing, you could still be negative on today, Tuesday, and be positive on Thursday. So that's the circumstance. It's not changing. So why would you think you could just run out and do whatever you want? That has not changed. We have a virus. We don't have a vaccine. You can get the virus. Real simple stuff. We have a virus. We don't have a vaccine. You can get it. So you say to yourself, that's fine. I'm going to go out there and try on my own, see if I can have some fun and hope I don't get it. How would you know? Now I hear you can even have the virus and be asymptomatic. How would you know if you don't at least take the initial precautions we've been given? So, something for you to think about. I'm sure I'll do better tomorrow. But I was so sad. I was so sad and disappointed. And I saw us going, I saw you guys walking up the hill. And I saw the cars all parked, like we were doing the Rose Parade was going on. There were so many cars and so many people. And it's an enormous track, I don't want to call it track, mountain hill that we're hiking. And the waterfall is beautiful. But now it's all closed because we weren't conscientious to think about Mother Earth, to think about ourselves, or even to think about our children. They're 4 and 5 and 6-year-olds running through there without a mask on. All somebody needs to do is cough. If one person coughed, they all should have been moving out the way. I guess that's what it is. America's free, huh? You get to have your own thoughts, think your own thoughts, and think about only yourself in the process. Well, think about us, because in order for us to get out of this, us is going to have to make some different decisions about what we're doing and how we're doing it. Otherwise, I can see this whole year just being this and the election, and that's all we get done. I'm still going to serve clients. I'm still working with my clients. But for those who need their jobs and need to get back to work, when we do these kind of things, they can't get back to work. They can't get to their jobs. America didn't say go out and enjoy yourself and take off your mask and take off your gloves. It's like go out there, still stay 6 feet apart from each other and wear your mask. You can make this happen. We believe in you. And America said, no, we can't make it happen. We're going to do what we want to do. You can believe in us all you want to. America, we have to make some different choices. We have to make some different choices. So over the next couple of days, let's see what this behavior brought us to. Maybe it brought us closer to where we want to go. And then we'll see what happens. What's next? 4th of July is the next holiday. There's always going to be a holiday because holidays are about spending money. So there's always going to be a holiday that America wants us to go out because America wants to get the economy going. So we'll see, I guess, when July comes, if things have shifted enough then for us to be able to try this again. In the meantime, take good care. Make choices not only for you and yours, but make choices for all of us so we can all get out of this. Okay? Bye for now.